Hello and welcome to another episode of Coffeefusion. This week we're going to look at roast development. Hey everybody, so the other day I had to roast two different profiles of the same coffee, an espresso profile and a filter profile, and I thought I'd take the opportunity while I had these two different profiles to do a video on roast development. So in general terms, if you're extracting for filter, you want to use a lighter roast profile so that you get these lighter and brighter fruity flavors in the cup. Whereas traditionally if you were roasting for espresso, you'd want to develop the coffee more, so roast it darker, so that you get those richer, bolder flavors in the cup. However, over the last few years, at least within the specialty coffee industry, we've started muddying those waters. So we're roasting lighter for espresso and getting those really interesting acidic and vibrant flavors in your concentrated espresso extraction. But as a roaster, it's really important to understand development, because if you roast too light for espresso, you'll get this untamable coffee which no matter how well you extract it, it's just going to be really over the top. So I can't speak for other roasters, but for myself I like to find a roast profile where I get this nice balance. So you get that acidity, but you get those more body-like flavors as well, and they mesh together, so when you extract well, you get this nice balanced cup profile. And you may have heard of extraction as this spectrum of flavors from like those lighter to darker, or like under extracted to over extracted. And so for every roast profile, there is a sweet spot where the coffee is well extracted, and then that's where you can kind of pick out the flavors from that roast profile. And so if you're using a more gentle style of extraction like filter, you can use that lighter roast and get these really delicate, sweet, intricate flavors, unlike that traditional coffee flavor. And so that's why these days, when people are brewing specifically with filter, they like to roast the coffee lighter so you can pick out those really interesting flavors. So what I thought I'd do is put these two roast profiles to the test with an AeroPress, which is a fairly light way of extracting coffee. You can kind of brew an AeroPress more like filter, or you can brew it more like a concentrated espresso shot. And I've gone for that filter style of brewing with both of the profiles. And so just so you know, the way I've brewed these coffees is exactly the same. So the only thing that's changed is the coffee itself and the development time. So the lighter roast was developed to 15%, and basically what that means is the time from first crack to when you drop out the roast, that is 15% of the whole roast time. Whereas the more developed roast was roasted to 20% development. And just to give you some context, a standard filter roast is around 15%, and espresso is normally roasted 20 to 25%, at least within the specialty industry. Obviously every roaster is different, and they will have their own ideas about what makes the right development percentage. So the coffee that I used in this experiment is Finca Hartmann from Panama. It's a natural process, and it's my latest single origin offering. The flavor profile that I usually get from this is a tropical acidity, some cherry notes and some chocolate tones. So if you think about those flavors and you think about the extraction spectrum, you can probably guess that the tropical kind of pineapple thing is on the lighter side, and those cherry and chocolate tones are more on the developed side. So if you can think about that, then you probably think about the lighter roast as showing more of those tropical acidity tones, and the more developed roast having those cherry and chocolate tones. And the way I'm brewing my AeroPress at the moment is based off a friend's recipe. Thanks Rami for that one. Basically how we go is 19 grams of coffee in, 50 grams of water to saturate and give it a stir, then top it up to 180 grams of water total, give that another stir, and then what we do is we add some cold water, another 50 grams of cold water, and that just cools the temperature of the extraction down, which I think kind of stops that over extraction happening. And I'm pressing down the AeroPress at 2 minutes total time. When it came time to drinking these, my initial thoughts of what I might expect kind of came true. That lighter roast did have a slightly more acidic feel to it, whereas the more developed roast had more of those cherry and chocolate tones. Now, normally at this point of time, you would kind of want to draw a conclusion and say which is better, but I don't think necessarily that better or worse is the right words in this case. I think if you're buying really high quality greens, as is the case with this Finger Hartmann, you can get a really nice coffee with a number of roast profiles. So in this instance, it's up to the roaster to kind of decide what it is they want to bring out and showcase in the coffee. And also, how will the coffee be brewed and should we roast it differently because of that? I did want to carry this experiment onto espresso as well, but unfortunately I didn't have enough of the light roast left to extract and dial in through espresso. I had like a one shot and one opportunity to seize everything I ever wanted, but I couldn't. It extracted a little bit too quickly, and so I just stuck with the AeroPress for this time around. But next time I have both the light and the more developed roast profile, I'll do a story on Snapchat and keep you in the loop with that. And if you enjoyed this and you want to read up a little bit more on this kind of idea, I can really recommend Rob Hoose's book. This book for me, when I started reading it, it really kind of pieced together the ideas that I already had and gave me a few things to play around with in the roaster to kind of draw out or shorten different stages of the roast and see the effect that that would have on the flavor profile. So I hope that you learned a little bit about roast development from this video. If you did, just click that like button because that really helps me. If this is your first Coffeefusion video, just click that subscribe button because I've got a lot more videos like this coming weekly. If you didn't see the other video this week, it was another episode of Pause of the Week. Feel free to check that out. But until next time, keep frothing.